The sports world just witnessed a seismic shift. Not because of a buzzer beater. Not because of a championship. But because of a shoe deal. Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom who took the WNBA by storm, has just signed a massive contract with Adidas, reportedly worth $28 million. And the fallout? Immediate. Emotional. Divisive. Because this wasn't just about sneakers, it was about identity, equity, race, power, and the future of sports marketing itself. The moment the ink dried on that Adidas deal, it exposed a deeper rift in the world of women's basketball, and at the center of that storm stands A'ja Wilson, MVP, superstar, and the face of Nike's women's basketball division. Or at least, she was supposed to be. Now, she's reportedly furious. And not just at Adidas. The whispers say she's livid with Nike. With the system. With the fans. With the industry that promised to uplift her but is now watching someone else get the spotlight. The firestorm ignited by Caitlin's Adidas contract isn't just a celebrity headline, it's a reckoning. Let's be clear, Caitlin Clark isn't the villain. But in a world where visibility equals value, her rise has cast a long shadow, and some people aren't happy about it. The backdrop to this drama is more complex than any social media post or highlight reel could capture. On paper, this is just an endorsement deal. But what we're seeing unfold is something much bigger, a corporate war, a racial debate, and a cultural identity crisis wrapped into one. Here's the breakdown. Nike signed both A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark. A'ja, the multi-time MVP, Olympic gold medalist, and undisputed beast on the court. Caitlin, the electrifying rookie whose shooting range and crowd-pulling power broke college records and reignited WNBA viewership. But while A'ja waited patiently for a signature shoe that never came, Nike fumbled with Caitlin too. Despite signing her, they did absolutely nothing. No ads, no merch, no commercials, no product rollouts. Just silence. And then Adidas pounced. They offered Caitlin a deal so massive, so unignorable, it sent shockwaves through every corner of the sports industry. $28 million over 8 years. It's not just a payday, it's a declaration. A promise to build around her. To give her what Nike wouldn't. Adidas didn't just offer Clark money, they gave her status. A signature shoe, a brand campaign, a seat at the table. Something even the most accomplished WNBA players have waited years for and still haven't received. And that's where the rage comes in. A'ja Wilson, by all accounts, has done everything right. Dominated the league. Remained loyal to Nike. Represented her team and the brand with pride. And yet, while Caitlin, a rookie, gets a full-blown marketing blitz from Adidas, Wilson remains sidelined when it comes to her own signature line. The optics are brutal. The emotion is raw. And the conversation that's emerging is louder than any three-pointer or dunk. Is this really about merit? Or is it about race? It's an uncomfortable question, but it's one being asked loudly, publicly, and relentlessly. Is Caitlin's meteoric rise a product of her talent alone, or is she being celebrated because she's a white athlete in a predominantly black league? When A'ja Wilson's fans ask why she still doesn't have her own shoe, they're not just talking about footwear. They're talking about value, about recognition, about who gets to be the face of women's basketball and who gets left behind in the marketing dust. Some defenders of Clark say this isn't about race, it's about marketability, about business, about who can move product. And that argument holds weight. Clark's merchandise sells out in minutes. Her games average over 1 million viewers. She brought in more eyes to the WNBA in one season than some veterans have in their entire careers. That's undeniable. But others argue that this just business narrative is too convenient. Because when it comes to women's sports, where opportunities are already limited, who gets chosen and why matters. And when the choice seems to favor someone who's new, young, and white over someone who's accomplished, experienced, and black, the fallout becomes a cultural flashpoint. Let's talk numbers for a second. Since Caitlin Clark entered the league, WNBA viewership has exploded, up 400%. Stadiums are selling out. Social media engagement has skyrocketed. And all of it tied to one player. She changed the game. No question. But the shoe deal wasn't just a celebration, it became a reminder. A reminder of all the ways the system still feels unequal. Nike, trying to play it safe, is now caught in a storm of their own making. They waited too long, ignored the moment, missed the wave, and Adidas rode it all the way to the bank. While Nike debated optics, Adidas made a power move. They said, "We're betting on the future." And her name is Caitlin Clark. But this isn't just about Clark and Wilson. It's about what happens when business intersects with identity, when performance gets weighed against perception, and when corporate America has to choose between heritage and hype. Aya Wilson is one of the greatest players in the game. Her stats are jaw-dropping: 24 points per game, 12 rebounds, 1,000 points in a single season. Dominance personified. And yet, somehow, she remains in Clark's shadow. Not because of performance, but because of presence. Because Clark sells. Because Clark draws headlines. Because Clark, for better or worse, represents a version of women's basketball that mainstream brands are suddenly scrambling to monetize. Now think about that. A league built on black excellence suddenly shifting all of its attention to a white rookie. It's not Clark's fault, but it's not invisible either. And the black fanbase? They've noticed. Some are asking the hard questions. Some are furious. Others are heartbroken. Social media is flooded with comments from fans saying things like, "Don't let white media push her into taking over our game." That's not just trolling. That's pain. That's history. That's decades of watching black athletes build something, only to watch someone else get the credit when it finally catches fire. And still, there's nuance here. Because Caitlin Clark didn't ask for this. She didn't sabotage Aya Wilson. She didn't write her own contract. She didn't choose how the media covers her. She just played the game better than anyone expected and got rewarded. She's not a villain. She's a reflection. A mirror held up to a system that still doesn't know how to honor multiple women at once. Instead of celebrating both Clark and Wilson, we've turned it into a competition. Into a binary. Into a debate of who's more worthy, more deserving, more valuable. But what if the real problem isn't the players? What if it's the brands? The media? The system that only knows how to spotlight one woman at a time and forces everyone else to fight for scraps? Adidas saw the future. Nike blinked. And in that hesitation, they lost control of the narrative. Now, Caitlin Clark is their biggest regret, and Adidas' biggest win. So what comes next? Will Nike rush out Aya Wilson's signature shoe to save face? Will Caitlin's Adidas line dominate the market? Will other brands step up to create space for all athletes instead of just a chosen few? Or will this become yet another example of how women's sports continues to be undervalued, underappreciated, and divided? What we're witnessing isn't just the rise of Caitlin Clark, it's the unveiling of a system that still can't handle more than one woman at a time. And as long as that continues, every victory will feel like a betrayal. Every endorsement will spark controversy. Every moment of celebration will carry the shadow of exclusion. Because until the day we recognize that more than one woman can be great at the same time, until we can celebrate Caitlin and Aya without one being pitted against the other, we'll keep repeating the same mistakes. Let us know what you think. Was Adidas right to bet on Caitlin Clark? Did Nike drop the ball with Aya Wilson? And is this just business, or something deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like the video. Subscribe for more stories that pull back the curtain and ask the hard questions. Because this isn't just about shoes. It's about who gets to wear the crown.